hindering him a little bit. Maybe he needs to work on that skill a little bit more. But instead, let's watch the 8th round. We've got Caruana, who is at 5.5 points. So he's definitely up there against Renato Terry, who has a perfect 6 out of 6. So this could be very important for determining who's going to win the tournament.
Yeah, and going to be a very interesting game here. It started life as a French defense. And yeah, we see some exchanges early on. We see white with an isolated pawn in the center. That is going to be a bit of a target maybe for the black pieces, but for now it's doing a great job of clamping down, I was going to say, in front of a backward pawn for black, which has stepped forward. And rather than white's isolated pawn, it's now this one in the center that could be targeted. Renato Terry, the strongest IM in the world, I'm going to call him. He has broken out, and he's very, very experienced in these French defenses. So the black queen needs to come out, the black bishop needs to develop, but long-term Fabiano, probably with a bit of confidence, hoping he'll play against the weakness in the center.
And Fabiano Caruana, he doesn't play in these Title Tuesdays every single week. He kind of shows up when he has time, and his best placement is in fact a 6th place in the first split. So he would love to have a tournament victory at some point, and this could be one of the first opportunities he's had, because right now, Magnus, he's already lost 1.5 points. And Caruana, he's playing against the guy who's leading the whole thing. So if he could win this, he would be in a very good shape before the last couple of rounds.
Exactly. And of course, Fabiano is going to be playing at the Candidates Tournament. That's going to be a big focus. But the Esports World Cup last year for him, I think very lucrative. He was part of Team Liquid alongside Magnus Carlsen. He'll want to be at the Esports World Cup, so he needs to start motoring in these Title Tuesdays. This position, better for white, but visually, I was going to say, it did look scary for a second. There was a hit on the white bishop. There were ideas of sacrifices around the white king. No longer possible, because Fabiano has gained time against this bishop, which most likely steps back. But there we go. Now Fabiano has time to bring his own bishop out, his queen out. He gives a check, actually, instead.
And he's playing really quick moves. I mean, he's playing against Terry, who has a reputation of being very fast, but Caruana here almost a minute extra after the opening. And he also did well in the World Blitz Championship, making it all the way to the semifinals, losing against Magnus Carlsen in a match, which of course is a very difficult thing. But he did then get a tied 3rd place in the World Blitz. And I feel like Caruana, he's previously had like a reputation of not being as good in these quicker formats, but with recent years, he's starting to prove himself as like a top competitor in fast chess.
Yeah, he's got a lot more kind of comfortable with trusting his instincts. I think that's the big thing about Fabiano. He knows he cannot control every game like he can in classical with great opening prep, great calculation. He's happy to go with the flow and mix things up, and he's had a decent track record in Blitz recently. So I wouldn't rule him out of Title Tuesday, especially if he wins this game. But for now, it's looking awkward for black slightly. I'm not sure exactly what white should do. The obvious moves would be to slide the rook across to an open file, or maybe towards the center. That's the only piece that's not doing anything. I was going to say, equally tempting would be to hit this rook and to try and gain a bit of time to sneak in and hit the other rook. But suddenly it becomes a bit more complicated, as we see Renato Terry shaking his head. Not happy either with his chances.
Let's hear what he says.
Me salí un poco de cuadro aquí. Torre por E4 no existe.
Okay, something number 4 doesn't exist. I'm not perfect at Spanish, but it's interesting as well that he's choosing to stream and also doing quite well while he's streaming. Some of the players, they are like, it's kind of like therapy for them to be talking about their moves so that they can air those thoughts. And he's doing very well with a perfect 6 out of 6 so far, Renato Terry.
And a slightly better position. That bishop hit on the white queen was a very important move to get the black rook into the center with gain of time. Fabiano missed that one, I think. And I want to praise your Spanish Maud, because you were right. He was, I think, saying rook takes e4 doesn't exist as an option. It wasn't a good move there, giving up the exchange. He found something better instead, and now much better. Renato Terry, what should he be doing? Is it just going to be a capture of this bishop to create a weak pawn for white? Maybe we'll go after that pawn a bit later. I like the idea as well of tucking the black bishop back next to its king. In Blitz, that works very well. Just you avoid any back rank checkmates. Maybe now, for example. And you just keep everything super solid and play with the rest of your pieces. He saves the pawn instead. The b pawn was hanging.
And we see that Pranav, he is up a piece. He is aiming for a 6 out of 7 score. And the other player with a perfect 6 out of 6 right now, that is Yakovir Sindarov, who is playing against Alexei Caruana, who's beaten both Magnus and Duda very recently in the last 2 rounds. So he's really on a roll. And we'll see then which of these 3 players, Caruana, Sindarov, and potentially Terry, will any of them have a perfect score? Because after they redid the format and changed to only having 5-minute games without any increment, it's only been Magnus who's done the perfect 11 out of 11. But today we have 3 new contenders.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's quite rare to have this many people still on 100% this late into the tournament. Normally it's just 1 maybe. So for the likes of Terry, this could be a golden opportunity. Fabiano's definitely misplayed it over the last few moves. This pawn is surprisingly hard to defend. The white queen is already tied down defending her bishop. The rooks for white just not active. I think Fabiano going with his bishop earlier, this kind of zigzag he played was mistaken. He needed to get this rook into the game. But now Renato Terry, it's all about whether he can push his own pawn forward later. Maybe that D pawn is going to become the destroyer of the white position. Fabi's lost all of his time advantage.
Yeah, I was praising him for playing so quickly, but as I was starting to do that, he spent a lot of time. And right now it's Terry who has 30 seconds more on the clock. He has a better position. He has a pawn that is very far forward in the center. He has a safer king, I would say. So yeah, this is looking very good.
It's looking very good. And okay, we've actually had a few moves. And position has changed somewhat. Still much better for Terry. He did win that pawn, as we said a bit earlier. The pawn in the center did disappear. And now the rook is coming. Oh, there's another target. We talk about 2 weaknesses. One of them is that he's a pawn down for Fabiano. Oh, he's not going to be enjoying this at all. The grind is on. And is it now time to go for that pawn? Or does he want to save his own pawn in the center first? Apparently, it was a mistake from Renato Terry. I'm shocked. That was the most natural move in the world for black.
Yeah.
But I think after an exchange, as soon as white does capture in the center, one white rook is going to come up to the top of the board and pin the black bishop. And that is going to be super annoying. No way to comfortably defend everything now.
Let's see if Caruana finds that important move, because right now it is even on the evaluation bar, but that is only in the case of finding the best moves.
Ooh, this one may be good as well, going into a rook endgame. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but at least he's tied down the black rook to the defense of this pawn.
When the clocks are very equal. Who is the best at flagging here? And Caruana, he's sending one of his pawns very far up.
Yeah, great move. He's learnt that one from Magnus. You want to push your pawns as far as down the board as possible, especially on the A and the H files in the corner ranks. There's now a target keeping the black king penned in. The rook is also cutting off the black king from moving. Renato Terry's so good at flagging, though.
Yeah.
I've been a victim of his many times.
Oh, no. Oh, and Caruana spending a little bit too much time right now, I would say. 15 extra seconds for Terry, who looks very concentrated. He stopped talking right now.
Oh, no, he's blundered into a threefold repetition.
Oh, my gosh.
Renato
He
Terry.
can't even believe it.
Oh, we thought we might get a reaction from him. He is shocked. It wasn't the same moves. It was the same position 3 times. He was moving his king back and forward. He was moving his rook back and forward. And it was that final time.
Oh, and he looks very disheartened to see this. And that's also the interesting thing about playing online chess, is these things are just kind of called immediately.